Welcome in. Talking about people's issues or problems reflected in astrology. And this might not be a popular topic, but I enjoy talking about this very much. And I recently had I'm always coming up, I'm always meeting people and talking about astrology. This stuff comes up and I gotta tell this story. I gotta tell this story. Before I start, we're gonna start with Pisces. I'm gonna go through all the keywords. This person isn't watching this, but I gotta tell this story. I'm not gonna get into details, but I could tell this person was a little bit down, a little bit not her normal self. And I said, and well, before I said anything, I remember I had her astrology. It was in the back of my mind. I started thinking, oh, so she has Saturn. She has Saturn transiting her Jupiter. So uh, I asked her how she's doing, and I said something about the transit. She's like, "What's that mean?" I said, "Well, it could be a depressing time." And she just outright said, "Yeah, I'm going through a complete midlife crisis." She's like mid 20s or something, and so she's telling me about what's going on. And then I'm thinking. Now I'm starting to think. This is kind of how it works with astrology, at least for me. Uh, I mean, not always, but I gotta have the information. I gotta have some information about you to really get into it. I'm not gonna make some, like I said, it could be a depressing time for her. I mean, that's not really what's going on, but which is why I don't like to make guesses, because I'm not gonna get into the details without knowing something about your life. So then I start thinking about the astrology a little bit more. I'm like, oh, she's got the moon. She's got Saturn transiting the moon in like 2 months to follow this up. And the whole story made perfect sense. And it came literally from my viewpoint, it literally came out. I mean, I had a little bit of a clue from when I first met this person, but it kind of came out of nowhere. And I'm not thinking about these people's astrology for the most part, after I meet them, after I talk about astrology with them. I got too much on my mind. But occasionally, I might start a conversation with it. It'll come back, and I'm noticing before I get started here. I'm noticing, like, I don't know if you call this intuition, but being online, I have a few YouTube channels. And if I haven't mentioned, I'm really big into tennis, and I notice when I publish, even here on this channel, when I publish stuff or I think about things to publish, something will be happening with that person. Like if it has to do with a celebrity or a person, and I don't know where that comes from because I'm not watching anything of theirs. It just pops into my head, and I don't think that I'm talented in this, or let's say I have a talent for this, whatever this is. Uh, However, it's like I'm really, really good at modern astrology. It's very flexible for good reason, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but obviously, alcoholism. Alcoholism is a big one. 12th house, Pisces, addictions, and this is the thing. Like this isn't going to heal and this isn't going to fix the world. Why? Because of really consciousness. They're not going to. Majority of the world's never going to. My opinion is, or not in our lifetime, is going to come to this conclusion that we're going to learn through astrology. Nor are they going to just fix their issues because they're aware of them. As I say in the description, it's not. It doesn't really work like that. So we have alcoholism, addictions. People have all kinds of addictions, like to alcohol, drugs, television, whatever the case may be. And some of them aren't that. They're not that bad. They're not that damaging. However, they do. All of them, in their own way, can hold a person back from moving forward. Can hold a person back from doing something different, from change in their life. And back to this idea that people aren't going to change just because they're aware of them. Like take alcohol, that's a big one. They know they have a problem, so then they just continue, but they continue to drink. Well, and it's like why is that? It comes back. If we come back to astrology as well, it's because they have Pisces sun or Pisces moon and a 12th house stuff. Well, really, what they need to do is they need to change the. I'm not going to say that they need to do this, but they could. What they could do, in theory, is change to something else that kind of gets them going. That because there's lots of other things in the chart that they can focus on that they enjoy. So let's continue on here. Some of the other things. Escape is huge as well. I was watching, and this kind of goes along with as we're getting into Sagittarius and Jupiter, the ninth house. There's this being on TikTok. I'm not a big fan of TikTok as a user, but I'm using to post some tennis videos and things. And there's this woman on there who's talking about taking like these weekend trips, and she's definitely Pisces Sagittarius. This is this idea of escape. She's always talking about escaping her 9 to 5. And these people don't look at these as issues, but I do. I look at that as being an issue. The traveling is an issue. It's a huge traveling once in a while is one thing, but traveling like she's suggesting, like on a weekend basis, it's a huge waste of resources and energy. Only and if you like if you see it for what it is, she's trying to escape her 9 to 5, and she probably really even admits that she's trying to escape her 9 to 5. There's many other ways that she can escape her 9 to 5, but this is what she enjoys. Uh, so these are look at some more here. Dreamer, disassociation. People may have problems or issues with dreaming. They're always dreaming about what they want to do, uh, what they want, not so much what they want to do, but they're always dreaming about what their life could be. And we think of the opposite of Pisces is Virgo, the earth sign. And the earth sign, take Virgo, for example, that's what your life really is. Whatever your life is right now, that's what it is. It's more likely than not going to change. And if it was going to change, we're talking about a 30-year process, unless there's some extraordinary circumstance. Which again, if you're a dreamer, you're dreaming, you're thinking of that extraordinary circumstance, and you're kind of like winning the lottery. You're hoping, you're dreaming that you're the one. You're the one out of 100 million that wins the big lottery, because that's what it is. It literally is one out of 100 million. And we can get into this with the fire signs and some of the other placements and how people feel. We feel special a lot of times, and it may not be the issue. Part of the issue is it may not be completely that they're going to completely become um, like this person escaping the 9 to 5 may not become that they're a full-time traveler, but as they're kind of dreaming this up, but they're uh, occasionally traveling on the weekends to escape their 9 to 5. The reality is the 9 to 5. That's their actual life. That's what's probably not going to change. Weak boundaries. Yeah, I was in. So I was somewhere years ago, and there's a lot. It was actually. Well, I'll tell you what it was. It was a hospital, and I was spending some time in this hospital, and a lot of the people there had weak boundaries, and because of their weak boundaries, they would have a lot of problems uh, with other people. And it wasn't just that they didn't know how to make boundaries. When their boundaries got crossed, they were trying to like learn from this, or uh, trying to strengthen their boundaries. When their boundaries got crossed in a what I would say a normal way, they would freak out. and they're trying to figure out this balance on how to create boundaries. And if I'm thinking of a couple of these people, it was almost it's sad because it was almost impossible from their reality, from their perspective. It was almost impossible because they just didn't know how to do it. There's in a sense they were practicing. They were practicing this thing uh, called boundaries. Let's move on to Aquarius. I'm reading from this book here as usual. I mean, you could use any astrology book for this. And each one of the signs has a lot of different issues. And usually they'll come up in the life. This is the other thing. It said the average person is not going to ever master this. I mean, I'm not even going to. I try. I can't even. I still can't do it. Aquarius, 11th house, Uranus. Individuality. This is a big one for the Aquarius types or the Aquarius placements. Individuality. What's the problem or issue? The issue is I want my individuality and I feel like I don't have it. So let's say you're single for a while, you're very much individual, and then all of a sudden you get in a relationship and the relationship gets going months down the road, etc., and then you want to escape. It could be that too. It could be the Pisces escape. But why do you want to escape? Well, because you feel like you're losing your individuality, and you may not even be losing your individuality. That's the thing. If you look at the birth chart, we see there's some people that do lose their individuality, and that's one thing. But then there's a lot of people where I call that really wouldn't be a problem or an issue. But if the person feels like they're losing their individuality, but they're actually not, that is a problem or an issue that the person has because that's going to prevent them from ever getting into a relationship, which can cause a lot of other problems depending on their circumstances. So it's not as black and white as, well, they don't have to be in a relationship. It doesn't necessarily, it just doesn't work like that. Rebellion. A lot of people have issues with rebellion. They might have a certain way of thinking that's different from everyone else. It's not necessarily wrong. And they're constantly finding themselves in a state of rebelliousness. And what the solution potentially could be for them is that to understand, not and you tell this to people, they say, well, that's kind of giving up, but to understand that you're not going to save the world, you're not going to change anything. To understand that these people aren't going to respect your rebelliousness. Now, by all means, if you want to keep rebelling and dealing with the consequences, go ahead. But if you're hurting yourself over it by getting upset and angry, etc., to no effect, well, maybe understanding all of this could help, a person understand that issue of rebellion. Or even if you're rebelling, you can intelligently and consciously rebel, so you have control of your emotions. Some of these cross over kind of. Trauma is a big one with Aquarius. Understanding that uh, beginning to learn that sometimes trauma has a purpose and it leads you somewhere. See, and this is again, I just want to reiterate that this is not for the consensus. This video is not for the consensus. The consensus. If you tell them that, you tell certain people that, they're going to freak out on you. And for at some point, when they want to face this issue, if they want to move forward, like let's say you had trauma as a child. Everyone, a lot of people have trauma. I don't say everyone, but a lot of people have different types of trauma. If you want to get over that, if you want to move forward, you got to stop blaming people. And understanding astrology and things like that, we can see, okay, Aquarius, what's the opposite of Aquarius? Leo. What do we do when we start to understand our trauma and that it's not really who we are? It's just something we had to experience that took us somewhere. Now we can move into Leo and begin to express ourselves in the light with the sun, Leo, the sun, in that cheery, happy go lucky, sunny manner that everyone likes. Capricorn. Capricorn's a big one in our times. The old daddy and mommy issues, parental issues. Some of these, I'm not going to go over. Fear is a big one with Capricorn. Uh, Issues. Let's talk about fear issues with Capricorn. The fear of not having the status, not having um, the fear of maybe being different, the fear of um, I don't even really know. I'm kind of drawing a blank here, so I'm just going to go over some more of these keywords. Guilt. These are like more of the earth signs as well. Guilt, fear, conformity, boundaries again, nationalism. Understand this idea of nationalism. How many people are just, they're all about their country, and I'm going to say there's 100% anything wrong with that, but it can become an issue. It can become an issue when you see these other countries as not people. They're not like you. They're like aliens. Um, and then going to this idea of back to the city idea of daddy issues, mommy issues, like looking for the how many people do this unconsciously? It's unconsciously. They're looking for that mother that they don't have anymore. As they get older, as people get older, in their 20s, early 20s, they're starting to leave the family, they leave the house. They're looking for that mother and father that they no longer have, especially if they're separated completely through death or through something else. These are issues that can easily be overcome or at least understood. Repression. Repression's a big one. Again, with this could be Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. Uh, these are issues. Repression is an issue that doesn't allow us to move forward in life. Doesn't allow us to do the things that we want to do or need to do because we are in fear. We're in conformity. We're in guilt. Sagittarius, Jupiter, ninth house. Big one here is being a know-it-all. You think of some of these people that they believe their religion is the greatest and the be-all, end-all of all religions, and that's an issue. That's an issue that stops people from Gemini relating to people, from understanding people, from having social experience. An issue could be finding meaning in life. You're never really going to find meaning. You're never going to find meaning in everything. But Sagittarius wants to find meaning in everything. They want to find meaning in their life, and that could be an issue where uh, if they don't feel like there's meaning there, then they're not going to do it. And this is something that comes and goes. Freedom. A lot of people get stuck in the freedom movement. I want to be free, free. Anarchist. It's not. It's never going to work like that. Saturn is real. Wanderlust. I talked about that. Escape. Alienation. Alienation. People feel like they're alienated because because they're in a certain circumstances. Look at me right now. I'm on the internet. There's no one watching me. I'm live. It's Thursday at 7 o'clock, and besides maybe my father, I didn't talk to anyone the last 2 or 3 days. I could feel like I'm alienated. I could start making stuff up. When in reality, if I sat down and thought about it, there's about 100 things I can do so that I don't feel alienated tomorrow. If I wanted to, just saying, if I had that issue or problem. One thing I might want to do is give up my dogmatic beliefs if I had them. So, Scorpio, Pluto, eighth house, fear of entrapment. It kind of goes with that individuality thing. Like, there's different reasons for this fear of entrapment. I don't want to lose my individuality. I don't want to lose my freedom. I want to do what I want. And this is something I want to talk about a little bit more. Fear of entrapment. I had this when it comes to work. I always felt like uh, that if I'm working a job, it could be like within a month. It could be 6 months. It could be there. It's pretty much there all the time, though. This fear of entrapment, and to get over this issue, I really had to do this. I had to think about. I'm not going to be here forever. I have to work. I have to do something. This idea, thinking about the grass is greener, etc. And this is something an issue that I had to work with over time. That I don't have this control. I think the big thing with astrology is I'm not quite there, but if you can get to a point where you really know that you don't have control over everything, and that doesn't mean that you just can just let go completely. It's kind of like you don't you know that there's some other forces involved, and you just go about your life. You just live your life and do the best you can. And living your life doesn't mean that it's okay to have fear of entrapment, or it's okay to let that oh, that's part of the plan. That's I'm just gonna let I'm just have no, that's not what that means. Objectifying that fear of entrapment and living through it the best you can that's what that means. That's getting over that issue, knowing that it's not going to go away, but it's not real. It's real. It's an illusion. And this, I think, comes with old age too. As you start to see your patterns. You're like, this isn't going away. Same thing with, like I talked about, dreamers. It could be the first Saturn return, and then get sometimes they get through the second half of their second Saturn return, and then maybe they're stubborn. It starts to kick in. Like, this is my life. And maybe they get. Hopefully by then they start to see the patterns. This is my life. It's not going away. I'm not going to all of a sudden have this happen. It's been 40 years. I start to see the patterns. They're repeating, and this is how it goes. And I'm going to make the best of it. Commitment issues, Scorpio. Abandonment, abandonment issues. I had this person I knew that I worked with, and she had a big time abandonment issues with the parents, and just couldn't get over blaming them for where her life was. And she wasn't doing bad. She was doing well. She's getting exactly what she wanted. That's another thing. To sit down and reflect. Like, you're getting exact a lot of times you're getting exactly what you want. You just don't think it's enough. And this person was like 26, 27, still blaming the parents, blaming the childhood, etc., etc. That time is long gone. That time is gone. That's another think about it, and that's a whole nother world. 1980, 1990. That's a whole nother world. Libra, Venus, seventh house. Obviously, relationship issues, codependency issues. Like you think about like codependency issues too. Like some people are married. It's like, look, you're married. That's it. This is the life. This is the life you chose. This is a life. You want to be the single. You want to do the single life. A lot of times people want a balance. Well, we live in an unbalanced world, and that's what Libra is kind of looking for that balance, and that can cause all kinds of issues. Like, well, I'm not getting. I knew someone. I meet so many people now, but someone else recently. It was like they broke up, and she wanted a break, and he just said, "No, I'm breaking up with you." Like, there's no balance there. It was just all or nothing. Very extreme. These are Libra issues. Why did she want to break? Maybe she felt her individuality. She's losing her individuality. Um, maybe she wanted to be more flirty. Seventh house, Libra, social, and the other person wasn't allowing her to be social. There's just a lot to talk about with these. We're getting on 30 minutes here. Let's go a little faster. Guilt, Virgo, guilt, shame. Again, that these are tied in together, like with the belief system. If you believe that cursing, if you believe that fucking cursing is a sin, and that makes you feel guilty, shameful, well, you're fucked. You're fucked. Those beliefs, you're done. And I just think about that with all the other beliefs that people have that aren't really sins. But who is so-called God could care less if you say the word fuck. And people have to prove that to themselves. That's difficult when you have 70% of the population constantly telling you, no, don't do that. Don't say that in front of me. That's wrong. Self-improvement is an issue. Always self-improving, right? You gotta sit back and reflect. Am I really doing anything? What am I doing here? People that go to the gym every day, work out every day, never take a break. What am I really doing here? Am I really doing anything? And they would tell themselves, yeah, I'm being healthy, as if I can't take a month off from exercise. Like that's going to kill me. They'll think that it will kill them. They don't realize, I tell them, you tell them right away, let's look at your chart. Guarantee you got some sixth house of Virgo. Guaranteed. Being overly critical, not having humility, feeling like a victim, aloneness. Leo, fifth house, sun. Kind of the special recognition, fame, narcissism, selfish, these kind of things. These are the issues with Leo. A lot of some things you can do, some things that, some positive things. Okay, you have this issue. You have to, you don't have to put this into a sphere where it doesn't look like it's being selfish. Like become an actor, become an actress, get on YouTube and start performing. This is a very selfish This is a very self-involved work. I'm talking to myself. I'm getting my if I want to be this if I had this Leo in me, this sun, I'm getting my fix right here, especially when I got people watching. Then in my real life, I can be normal. But here it's okay for me to be a narcissist. I need to get attention. Because if people don't see my channel, people don't hear me talk, no one hears it. That's it. I'm talking to a wall. But people do this in their real life, and you could tell them, "Why don't you do that? Why don't you go online? Why don't you start a why don't you go take an acting class?" No, 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 I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna do that. I'm afraid to do that. But a lot of times they're afraid. I'm afraid to do that. So I'm gonna act out being noticed in real life by, uh, flirting with a lot of different people. cheating on my significant other, thinking about other people, being with other people, and not with my significant other. The arts, creativity. They often don't have. These people often don't really have any uh, creative outlet. You combine that with Libra. Not saying Libra doesn't have creative outlets, but just saying like a lot of the people that would be like a Leo Libra thing. Cancer, again, mothering issues, family issues, always feeling neglected. You could be in a family of like six and feel neglected. Can you imagine? You're in a family of four, a family of five, and you feel neglected by your family that's there all the time versus the person who's by themselves all the time. It doesn't have any, doesn't rarely has any friends, can't find any friends, can't find family, can't find a boyfriend, can't find a girlfriend, etc. And then you got this person in the family environment, brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, and they feel neglected. Children, issues about the children, gender roles, gender issues, cancer, gender issues. Am I male or am I female? Inside, inside I feel like a female, but outside I look like a male. This is a real issue. I'm not going to get into that. Gemini, Mercury, third house. I don't think I'm prepared to do Gemini 30 minutes in. Could be. This is go with this one. Lying, exaggerating. I had a friend who was a Gemini Sun, Leo Moon. We used to say exaggerated. He wasn't a liar, but he was an exaggerator, and that's just the best way to put it. He exaggerated about everything, like little white lies, and he wasn't a bad person. That really wasn't an issue. I don't think that was really an issue, but it's a funny story. Taurus, Venus, second house. This kind of goes with the Earth signs, preservation, issues of survival. I'm not beautiful enough. Makeup. A lot of people they don't think they're beautiful enough. They're never. Again, it comes back to that idea of me saying I'm like feeling like. It's probably why people just accept people as they are. They just don't. They don't talk about it. Feeling. I was saying something about me at work. I forget what it was, um, but kind of like that, where they never are gonna feel beautiful ever, even if you go through this. Doesn't matter. Like I said, most of the population, they're not gonna be able to objectify this. Security. A person could have a house. They could own a house. They could have $100,000 in the bank. I had a guy who had $100,000 in the bank, lost his job. His wife had money, had to have something. He had a $200,000 house, and they both had their parents who had money. He lost his job and he had to go to therapy. He was freaking out because he wasn't going to have enough. That is a survival issue. That's a Taurus issue. And when the guy really had no issue whatsoever, working all the time to make money when you already have money, working two jobs, three jobs, whatever, when you already have, particularly when you already have money. Person would just tell themselves, "Oh, I have $20,000. That's not enough. That's not money. I need to push." Aries, Mars, first house, independence. Again, independence issues, narcissism issues, self-interest, special destiny. A lot of times, Aries people will think that they're special, that they're better than everybody else. And this is big. Like, there's a lot of people. I mean, I'm not to get into like people shouldn't do these things, but if ever becomes an issue, it's like Aries people. It's like go take a boxing class. Go to a boxing gym. Go to the gym. Work out. Play tennis. Uh, and a lot of them, same thing. They can't do it. They can't do it. It's not good enough for whatever reason. And that's the difference between astrology and consciousness. Uh, because with just astrology alone, you cannot really tell a person why that is. You can tell them why they are the way they are, but can you tell them why they can't um, tran transmute? Is that the word? Transmute, transform that energy into boxing, as opposed to the issue of maybe hurting people, attacking people, costing people, going to going into the military, being at war all the time, etc. Can we really? Can we can't really. It's hard to look at the chart. I mean, I guess it's possible. I guess it's slightly possible to see percentages. But those are the 12 zodiac signs. We had no viewers in here, so hope you enjoy this, and thanks for watching.